council will come to order. Prior to our prayer and pledge of allegiance, I have a narrative to read concerning the governor's executive order. The meeting of the council will seek to comply with directives of Executive Order 7B-1 issued by Governor Ned Lamont on March 14, 2020, together with any executive orders subsequently issued which pertain to such meetings. The mayor, members of the city council, the city manager, city clerk, comptroller, and corporate council shall be present in person but separated by appropriate social distancing at council chambers, or participate remotely by conference call, video conference, or other technology. The meeting shall be televised on the public access channel in real time and posted on the city's website, www.norwichct.org, consistent with Executive Order 7B-1 and the usual practices of the City of Norwich. All remarks or comments made by the mayor, the members of the Norwich City Council, city officials, and by the public during the citizen comment on resolutions portion of the meeting shall be included. The comments of citizens on resolutions may be made by telephonically pursuant to the following instructions. The call phone number is 860-823-3700 at extension 3850. Again, the call phone number is 860-823-3700 at extension 3850. This number will be available only during the public comment period listed on the agenda as citizen comment on resolutions. Its use commences when citizen comment on resolutions is reached and opened by the mayor. There is only one call in line. If the line is busy when you call, please call back. Any calls must be made prior to the mayor's announcement that the citizen comment and resolutions period has ended. Citizen comments on resolutions limited to the resolutions on the agenda may also be sent by email or means of other written communications stating the name and title, if applicable, of the sender. Email should be sent to the office of the mayor at mayorsoffice@cityofnorwich.org, and other written communications sent or delivered to the office of the mayor, 100 Broadway, Norwich, Connecticut, 06360. Emails were to be received by 7 p.m. this evening on Monday, April 6, 2020, and other written communications received by 4:30 p.m. this afternoon, again Monday, April 6, 2020, to be made available to the City Council for its April 6, 2020 meeting. Citizens' comments will be limited to the resolutions on the agenda only. All speakers taking part in the citizen comment on resolutions portion of the meeting shall clearly state their name and address before speaking and will be limited to 3 minutes. Would you all please join me and stand for the opening prayer? Will be led by Alderwoman Stacy Booth.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of your community. Amen.
Amen. Alderman Joe DeLucia, please, and the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would move for the adoption of the minutes of March 2nd and 16th, 2020. Is there such a motion?
Alderwoman Stacy Gould makes a motion.
Thank you. Motion made by Alderwoman Stacy Gould, seconded by Alderman Darrell Wilson. Is there discussion? Being none.
I'll do a roll call vote. Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yep.
And Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0.
The motion passes. At this time, we have a presentation by the city manager's budget for fiscal year 2020-21.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, I am presenting the fiscal year 2020-21 budget for the city of Norwich. Now, I have a little preamble that's not part of the slideshow, and it concerns the coronavirus. This budget is premised on the pre-coronavirus atmosphere. It would be virtually impossible at this point to estimate what the fiscal condition of the city will be July 1st of 2020. Too many things could happen either positively or negatively at this point. So rather than try to estimate those items, we're going to do the budget pre-coronavirus. We have time because we don't do the final approval of the budget until June of 2020. So that gives us 2 months to see what happens at the state, national, and local level and see how the virus progresses and what type of impact it does have. It obviously can have impact on our revenue. It can have impact on our expenses. There will be reimbursement for many of the expenses that we incur to the amount of 75% of expended expenditures. We expect that there will be some state and federal aid to local governments. That's a speculation that we don't know what that will be. Obviously, that would impact the final budget numbers. So, we have 2 months. We're going to proceed with the regular budget process, starting with tonight and continuing in the month of April, where we have the departmental hearings. We'll have a public hearing. Then the council will debate the budget, and ultimately in June finalize the budget.
Excuse me, Mr. City Manager. Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm getting repeated text messages that the sound on the television feed is not working.
Is it? What do you? We're trying to reboot it. We're trying to reboot it.
Does that mean I have to reboot?
I'm not sure.
John,
Is it
microphones should be
Comcast
higher.
or is it?
I'm getting a message that it's working fine. I'm trying to find out what provider they have.
I think we should.
Say it again?
Frontier.
Frontier is the problem, not Comcast.
Yep.
John, I think you should hold the mic right up.
I need 2 hands, so.
Yeah, Comcast is working.
Why is this blinking? thinking red and green.
The green is meaning you're on, the red is meaning it's off.
It's doing both.
Mike, it's red and green.
I just rebooted it, don't do this.
So it's probably just rebooting.
Now it's green, okay. It was red and green before, okay.
It's not important on Comcast One. I have a TV in there on Comcast right now. I can hear everything.
So I'm not going to repeat that.
So Frontier is the,
Yeah, you have to turn the volume. You have to turn the volume. I'm turning the volume on the TV. It says recording here just fine.
The alternative would be to go on the city's webpage where there's a live stream of the meeting. So if you can't get it through your cable provider, you could switch to the Norwich webpage where you'll see a link for the proceedings live streamed on the internet. So that would be an alternative for people that can't hear through their particular cable. Okay, I'm going to continue now with the budget. Priorities for the budget. Obviously, we want to minimize the impact on taxpayers while maintaining or minimizing a reduction of services or funding and long-term liabilities. We want to try to emphasize collaboration and sharing of resources among departments. We want to maintain the city's infrastructure, and we want to provide for some increase in education funding. Let's talk about revenue. Education and non-education formula grants are relatively flat. There are no major changes for Norwich in the formula grants accounted for in the general fund. The state has an increase in the Mashantucket Pequot grant for Norwich by $500,000, which is in the proposed budget. Also, the state budget increases the Alliance District grant to the Norwich Public Schools from $5.6 million and to $6.8 million in 2021. It should be known that this source of funding is not included in the general fund. NPS must submit a plan to the State Department of Education for their approval on how the district intends to use the Alliance District grant. We have the grand list growth. Our grand list increased approximately 1.8% for this fiscal year's budget. It's composed of 3 items which did increase about 50.5%. That was the increase in real estate values, increase in personal property values, and an increase in motor vehicle values, as well as a reduction in exemptions and change in the collection rate. Now, the major factors were the completion of construction in the past year. There was commercial investment in personal property. And of course, we've had economic development agreements with certain commercial tax entities, and they are phasing out, and that is the 0.4%. So the new grant list that we use for the collection is $1.9 billion. Other revenues. The city receives a 10% share of Norwich Public Utility revenues. The payments for the Norwich Public Utilities revenues are based on the gross revenues from the fiscal year 18 and 19 and will increase by approximately $309,000 to $9,170,000 for fiscal year 2021. $2.4 million is allocated to the CCD, the same amount as the last 2 years. It's important to note that we are projecting interest and most other revenues to decrease as we enter what we think is a recession. But even beyond the recession, the city has reduced the interest rate income substantially because of the interest rate environment we are now. As most people are aware, the Fed fund rate is almost 0%. So investments that we would utilize are on a low, historically low basis, and that will impact our investment proceeds. We're also projecting building permits to be reduced this year. And of course, there is a question in the Pequot funding because the casinos have been closed a month and could be closed further. But again, what we have in our budget is based on revenue estimates as they exist now. Expenditure factors, salaries and fringe and other. Base wages increased due to scheduled wage increases from bargaining unit contracts. It's important to note that all our contracts are in effect now, so we have no outstanding contracts. We will, however, have the fire's contract expire June 30th of 2020, and we'll be entering negotiations on that later on this spring. The growth of the pension fund contribution has finally slowed, so we're not getting the increase. Of course, there's a big question in everybody's mind because of the investment proceeds and what it's going to be like. Well, we've taken certain items and have reduced what we estimate our long-term investment revenue will be. We were once over 8%, estimating over 30 years that we would average 8% per year. Over the last years, we reduced that, and now we're estimating 7.25%. Now you must understand that we amortize the pension fund over 30 years. So in that 30-year period, there's going to be times where the pension fund is up substantially, like 19 and 20, and where it might be down substantially, which at this point is this year. It's important to note that we won't have the next actuarial evaluation for another year, so a lot could happen in the investment environment that we're in. So it's really premature to say that our pension contributions will be affected by investment proceeds. One of the most important items is OPEB. OPEB is the other post-employee benefits, the acronym OPEB. The city contributes an actuarially sound amount of what the future benefits that are going to be incurred by retiring employees. We've been funding that, and we've been ahead of the curve on that for a number of years. And the OPEB contribution for our proposed budget actually decreased enough this year. It's nearly $1 million. in the general fund to cause a net decrease in total salaries and fringe for the city departments. That's a key number for why our budget is, has virtually no increase on the general fund side. Other expenditures. Debt service decreased by $287,000. This is because we retire our debt rapidly. We don't incur a lot of debt. And so our ability to borrow is a positive type of situation. This is why we're rated a AA in our rating agencies. One of the big reasons is that we have a low debt service. Now we have, the council has passed an item where we could go out to refunding of some additional monies in our debt account. A refunding is like a person refinancing their mortgage. When the rates go down, you could lock in new lower rates. In essence, that's what we would do with our debt service. We're not recommending doing it right now because the markets are so volatile that we wouldn't be saving much money. Most investments are going into treasury notes, and they're not investing in municipal bonds. Therefore, the bond market, which normally is tied very close to the Fed fund rate and the treasury rate, is not running parallel to that this year. But we have the whole year to see if that market stabilizes, and we think it might, and if it does, we may have an opportunity to save more than the $287,000, but we didn't budget for that. So that would be extra savings if it were to occur. Fuel and utilities, we have a decrease of about $70,000. Energy costs are generally decreasing because of Saudi Arabia's decision to boost oil production, and that's regardless of the COVID-19 virus impact. There is some softening of demand, of course, because of related issues to demand dropping because of decreased expenditures by business industries around the world. Strategies for developing the budget. We have really a few that we're going to talk about. One is sharing resources and other initiatives. 2 is some staff changes. 3 is maintaining infrastructure. 4, we propose an increase in education funding. And 5, always the taxpayers are in. We think of the taxpayers and try to minimize the impact there.
Excuse me again?
Yes.
Again, I'm getting text messages asking me where the public is supposed to find the link for this meeting on the city's website.
Do a search for budgeting. Go to the homepage and
You have a microphone.
Use the mic.
I'm on the homepage.
on the homepage.
Speak
Do a search for budgeting, and it should bring you to the page. There's a live stream.
Do a search for what, I'm sorry?
Budgeting.
Okay.
Let me try.
And there should be a link for live stream.
Yeah, so, for the benefit of the public, if you type in budgeting into the search window, second item down on the very bottom of the list is a link that says streaming council meeting video. Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Malou. Sharing resources and other initiatives. We have the continued administrative sharing of the NPS and city administrative software. Although some of our initiatives weren't achieved this year, we have the potential to consolidate administrative functions with the Board of Ed to save administrative costs. We are also proposing to eliminate a full-time position and a part-time animal control position, and we are negotiating with the Northeast Connecticut Council of Governments service that they provide in the area of animal control. So we would be part of a regional solution for animal control. This would save approximately $70,000 in the proposed budget and would give us actually more depth for responding to animal issues and eliminate having the police department be utilized in most cases for the animal complaints. So this is a significant initiative. We are in the process of negotiating the agreement. We're generally on, have a tentative agreement almost, it's just a matter of some of the language. They will be leasing our building, so our animals will be staying in the same facility that they have been staying at. They will also lease our vehicles and we will get revenue from that. So this is an exciting regionalization that I think is going to give us better service at a reduced cost. The planning, building, and zoning, fire, public works, and NPU are reviewing proposals for a new permit and inspection software solution. The hope is to have a software that streamlines workflow along all of these departments and entities and make it easier for residents and businesses to get the permits that they need. Finally, we have in the budget maintenance of the NCDC contribution at $150,000, and we also have retained in the budget $25,000 for the multicultural development program and $25,000 to continue the city's marketing and branding activities. As I mentioned, the Northeast Connecticut Council of Governments will hopefully be integrated with our animal control. We do have some changes in public works, but it nets out to the same amount of people, but it will allow our street maintenance division to cover more ground with the same number of positions, and we have included that in our proposal. Maintaining infrastructure. Some of the highlights for the city are, it's obvious that the city has a lot of capital needs. I am proposing the charter required minimum of $2.6 million this year. That's an increase because the base budget has grown. The capital budget includes paving projects, firefighter equipment, purchase of a major piece of equipment. It's a catch basin cleaner. It's a large machinery. Actually, it's this piece of equipment. Expensive, but it will allow us to clean out our drains and conform with the more rigid clean water standards and drainage that the state has imposed on us. The capital budget also includes $50,000 funding for demolition to raise and abate dilapidated buildings to make properties easier to develop. You might recall that we budgeted $200,000 in this fiscal year's budget, and we still have money left over from that. So between the 50 and what's left over, we have a good starting point for additional demolition. It is interesting to note that the capital request from the departments totaled $53 million. So you can see that we paid it down to $2.6 million. It's quite a difference. Increase in education funding. The Norwich Public School is projecting an expenditure overage this year in the range of $1.1 million. I know that that could change depending especially on what's happening with the schools being closed at this point. There are, ironically, some savings that the schools will incur this year, which might go with the $1.1 million expenditure overage. I am anticipating that the schools will be closed after April 20th, which now is the governor's executive order. Whether we have school again this year, I think we'll know within this week what the governor and the Commissioner of Education are going to recommend. The Board of Education requested a budget of $85.5 million, which is approximately a 5.5% increase, or $4.5 million increase over fiscal 19-20. I am recommending an increase in local funding for the Board of Education's general fund operating budget this year in the amount of 2.4% to $83 million. That's an increase of approximately $2 million. That compares with last year's proposal by the city manager, which was approximately 2%. So I've taken into account and trying to close the gap in their expenditure gap that they've had the last 2 years. As you can see by this chart, this line on top is the Board of Ed. This line is the city's expenditures over the last 14 years. And you can see that the gap between the general fund and the Board of Ed funding, and that the general fund funding has been relatively flat over the 14 years with an average increase of less than 2% per year. Taxpayer impact. This is our famous average home. Before that, we have the mill rate changes. The general fund mill rate, including all the expenditures of the increase in the Board of Ed, is 0.75 of a mill. The TCD has no change, and the CCD has a 0.8 mill change. The cap on motor vehicle taxes remains at 45%. Just looking at this, and I know it's difficult to see probably from home. Oops. The proposed mill rate is 41.03. The adopted mill rate in 1920, the budget we're in now, is 14.28. That's where you get the change of 0.75. Or a percent change of 1.86. And you see the TCD, the CCD, and the totals. The famous comparison on the median assessed single-family home and what the impact is. Last year, or this year, in fiscal 1920, the average tax on a median single-family home was $4,369. With this mill rate, we are proposing that the increase would be about $80, or 1.8%, to $4,450. Obviously, if your home is assessed higher or lower, the dollar amount would change accordingly. Appropriations, this is a macro overview. The general operations for 1920 were $81,039,000. That includes capital improvements and the subtotal for the general fund, including the debt service. In fiscal 2021, we are proposing a budget of $131,896,000, which includes, as I said, about a $2 million increase to the Newington Public Schools. The total general fund increase would go from 129 to 131, a 1.5% increase. You note in the general fund, we actually have a decrease in the expenditures from 46.3 million to 46, actually a little less than 0.3, or a $71,000 reduction, or 0.15%. With the special revenue funds and Norwich Public Utilities, the total budget is $233 million, and it increases to $237. Most of the increase, again, is in Norwich Public Utilities, which, as you know, is paid for by utility fees. Here's our famous house that we use each year. This shows the fictional amount of money that's allocated to the median single-family home in the CCD, and this is the education portion, which is about 63% of the budget goes towards education. Other general fund expenditures are essentially flat. It's about a $7,000 increase. So, we think that the budget is frugal. We have a zero increase in the general fund, city side, and a modest but significant increase in the Newington Public Schools. We will be meeting with all the departments over the next few weeks, and the citizens and the city council will be getting more detail on the budget. We're going to be continuing the schedule of budget meetings. Tomorrow we have public safety budgets on April 13th. We have various departments, including human services and recreation, public works, planning and neighborhood services, and public utilities. On the 14th, we have the Otis Library and the public schools. On the 16th, we have the city clerk, elections, city manager, mayor, and human resources, the finance functions, and the first public hearing on the city manager's budget at 7:30 that evening. Then we proceed on the 20th for a regular council meeting, and on May 4th, we tentatively have scheduled adoption of the preliminary budget for the city. May 11th would be the second public hearing on the council's adopted preliminary budget. On May 18th, we have a regular council meeting. Take a deep breath. Then we have Monday, June 1st, for the council meeting to set the tentative amount and date for the budget adoption. It could go as late as 1 week after the first, so the latest by charter that the council considered the budget would be June 8th. And that concludes my presentation for tonight.
Thank you, John. We are going to begin our portion of the citizen comment on a resolution. Again, they are only on the agenda items. Citizens are urged to call following phone number 860-823-3700. Type in or dial in extension 3850. Citizen comment is open.
I think we have a call.
Joanne Silver, Georgetown. Okay, my comment to you this evening is, this is very awkward as there's a time lapse. And although I realize that this is an unprecedented time, this is a poorly executed forum, in my opinion. Having said that, I don't have resolutions in front of me, but I would like to speak to the issue of the fire department study or the fire issue. This has been an ongoing issue for years and years and years. And my comment to you is that I feel that this is an inappropriate time for this matter to be brought forward, especially since there is not a true public forum for us to express our opinion. I am a great advocate for reading people's body language. I cannot do this in this forum. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to state the phone number again?
Monica Russo, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, United States of America. I just want to speak to Resolution 5. I believe the timing on this resolution might not be as convenient as possible, especially since we stress the importance on our fire suppression system. I noticed that there is a 90-day limit of time after the contract is awarded. I didn't notice that there was any monetary cap on this contract. I don't even know if that's possible that you can do that on a bidding project. But I'd like to see you speak to those issues. I thank you very much and be well.
Thank you. Again, the number to call is 860-823-3700, and that is extension 3850. Again, citizen comment is open. We welcome your comments and your calls.
We have a call.
Shall we do our amendment? And so I'm calling this evening is, number one is to thank the Mayor City Council for, and the City Minister for accommodating the virtual meeting as the Governor has allowed the municipalities to hold. Unfortunately, due to the environment that we're in, that this may be the new normal that we may see in the future. So I will talk about resolution number 4 and number 5. And number 4 deals with the school building committee, and I don't know if this is an additional thing that's been added or are you adding names as people submit their applications. So I just wasn't very sure about that. And then on resolution number 5, which deals with putting out an RFP for the fire to analyze and evaluate the fire services in the city. And yes, there has been an area in the city that has been looked, well, discussed. I won't say that we looked at, but it has been for discussion from the city council. But I will implore you to even think about how this RFP could help the city in the future as we get post-pandemic to the area, to the state, to the nation, in that in this service, as well as other areas dealing with our public safety, we may be addressing evaluation and proposals of this nature for the future. We are in very unprecedented times, and if we're going to conduct this evaluation, I believe there should be an opportunity to keep it open, to allow for other issues and other items that may come before us within the next 3 to 6 months. So that is my comment, and I thank you for giving the public an opportunity to ask for weighing on this issue.
Thank you for your comments.
Peter Hucraft, 85 Lambert Drive, Norwich. I'm sitting here and I'm really irritated with resolution number 5. I'm going back, I'm a member of Yannick Fire Department, I'm going back 45 years, 45 years, this same thing. It raises its head about every 10 years. It started when I was a brand new member. And I had to speak at Huntington School. And I barely knew anybody. I just knew back in town, but and I think people would remember how packed Huntington School was. So face to face. This room would be packed. It'd be out in the hallway waiting to come in. We got bigger fish to fry in the city of Norwich. I wouldn't want to be on council and staring down the school board budget that you have, trying to figure out whether you're going to lay off police, whether you're going to lay off firemen, whether you're going to lay off public works. That's a very unpleasant task facing you. I want to spend $250,000, I'm guessing, for another study. We got studies on the shit. We got studies on the shelf down there. Pull one of those out, let's go and read it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The number to call in again is 860-823-3700, extension 3850. Citizen comment is still open. If anyone would like to call in, please do so. Citizen comment is still open. Again, to call in, the number is 860-823-3700, extension 3850. This is the final request. To call in on citizen comment, the number is 860-823-3700, extension 3850. If there are no other callers, I'd like to thank everyone who took the time to speak to us tonight, and I declare citizen comment then closed.
New business, resolution number 1, relative to setting the first and second public hearing on the budget for fiscal year 2020-2021.
I would entertain a motion from the members to raise resolution 1, again, for setting the first and second public hearings on the budget for fiscal year 2021. Is there such a motion?
Alderman Wilson, make the motion to sign this.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Alderwoman Stacy Gould seconds the motion.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Alderman Darrell Wilson, seconded by Alderwoman Stacy Gould. The public hearing will be scheduled first on Thursday, April 16th, on 2020 at 7:30 p.m. here in the council chambers of City Hall. The second public hearing later in this process is to be held on Monday, May 11th, 2020, again at 7:30 p.m. in City Council chambers. Is there further discussion? Yes, Alderman Wilson.
So the only concern I have is knowing that the COVID-19 situation is not probably not going to be done with over the course of us doing this budget. As the committee have alluded to, this could be the new norm for some time. My only concern is that one, we do our best not only to have it in this form where individuals can call in, but we do our best between now and even the first public hearing, getting the information out about the highlights of the budget to people in the public, whether it be through our Facebook pages, the newspaper, the website. We do everything in our power to make sure people understand the budget. And also that they know the different methods that they can submit comments, whether it be letters, emails, phone calls on the public hearing. I think accessibility is important to me, and I want to make sure that we do our best to make sure that those opportunities are had between both the April 16th and the May 11th budget hearings, because quite frankly, it just doesn't feel right. You know, we already are in these terms and times with what we're doing, that we leave individuals out, but we do our best to publicize the opportunities and the accessibilities and tools that we have, but also us advertising even more than we normally would the dates and times when these things are taking place.
Thank you, sir. Is there further discussion? Alderwoman.
Mr. Salamone, is there a possibility that the governor could order any kind of change to these dates that would, or have an executive order that would make it necessary to change any of these dates?
Right now, the executive order extends the budget process to the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. I wouldn't want to bet on anything that not happening. So it is possible that could occur. If it does, then we'd have to amend the hearing dates. I'll defer to Corporation Council on that.
Jackie, it's behind him.
Michael Russo, the Corporation Council, the government executive order is actually done away with the requirements of the council federal public hearings, and it's still pretty out the legislative body. I think the council desires and the energy desires to have public hearings, virtual public hearings, probably required. Could the rules change? They certainly could. There may be further orders come down, we just can't predict at that point. But right now, the goal of the council is to hold the public hearings at the time of the schedule and give the public every opportunity to participate virtually, including the correspondence, the emails, and online. But again, the purpose of this is to give the council the information the individuals have, so that as long as you receive it, consider it, and a lot of that influence is appropriate to the deliberations.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there further discussion of Resolution 1? Yes, Alderman Wilson.
Just for the city manager, I have a question. Is it possible, you know, I know tonight it was a little difficult to get to the link as far as the live stream, but is it possible to make it a memo or something outlining how to do online submissions for individuals when it comes to comments for this? I think just knowing that more individuals that normally would possibly come here, and with the calling situation, I feel us being more accessible and giving as much information as possible, is that something that's possible?
We can certainly explain the rules of the council more. This was our first attempt at it. I think it actually was a good opportunity. We should disseminate it more. We'll put it on the webpage. It has been. I talked to the media today to get the word out. Even took them on a tour of where we are in here and whatnot. But we will continue to do that between now and the 16th. That's approximately a week away, and we'll publicize it as much as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on Resolution 1? Seeing none, have a roll call.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Betancourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 2, relative to reappointments of regular member and an alternate member to the Senior Affairs Commission.
Yes, I ask for a motion to bring Resolution 2 forward.
Alderman Wilson, brings it, motion to bring forward.
Alderman Darrell Wilson, motion, second.
Alderwoman Stacey Gould seconds the motion to bring it forward.
Thank you. Motion by Wilson and Gould to bring forward the reappointment of the Senior Affairs Commission member Lori-Ann Masur, and further that a reappointment as an alternate member Rebecca Malucci. Is there discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, roll call please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Betancourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion carries 6-0.
Resolution number 3, relative to reappointments of regular members to the Recreation Advisory Board.
Motion please to bring Resolution 3 forward.
Alderwoman Stacey Gould motions to bring the resolution forward.
Motion by Alderman Gould, is there a second?
Second by Alderman Wilson.
Second by Alderman Darrell Wilson. Is there discussion on the Resolution 3, the reappointment to the Rec Advisory Board of Mr. Raymond Stewart, and reappointment as regular members of the Recreation Advisory Board of Julie Fenton Cagle and Jeffrey Blindeman? Is there further discussion? Yes, Alderman Wilson.
I just want to say, these are great reappointments, having the opportunity to serve a short time on the advisory, but also doing many activities and events through the rec department with these individuals. These are 3 hardworking and dedicated members to recreation here in the city, and it's look forward to serving with them all.
Thank you, sir. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes. Alderwoman Miles? Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Betancourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion carries 6-0.
Resolution number 4, relative to an appointment to the School Building Committee 2020.
Motion please to bring this forward.
Alderwoman Stacey Gould brings the motion forward.
Motion made by Alderwoman Stacey Gould. Is there a second?
Alderman
Motion by President Pro Tem Mark Betancourt. The resolution before us is the appointment to the School Building Committee. The person's name is Kristen Talley, and she is actually replacing someone who had previously been appointed but asked to have her name removed. That is the reason for this appointment, and one of our callers had asked for that information earlier this evening. Is there further discussion on Resolution 4? Seeing none, is there roll call, please?
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Betancourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion carries 6-0.
Resolution number 5, relative to issue request for proposal to complete analysis of the entirety of the fire City Fire Services.
Is there a motion, please, to bring this forward? Alderman DeLucia,
So
please.
moved by Alderman DeLucia.
Thank you. Motion is made by Alderman Joseph DeLucia. Is there a second?
Second right here, Alderman Earls.
Motion is provided a second by Alderman Durrell Wilson. Is there discussion? Alderman DeLucia.
At this time, Mr. Mayor, Alderman DeLucia would like to make a motion to refer resolution number 5 on tonight's agenda to the Public Safety Committee for consideration and recommendation in writing to the City Council on or before the Council's meeting on May the 4th, 2020.
President Pro Tem, second the motion.
Motion is to amend by Alderman Joseph DeLucia and second by President Pro Tem Mark Betancourt to require that the recommendation from the Public Safety Committee be delivered to the City Council at the first meeting in May, I believe May 4th?
Yes, on or before.
On or before May 4th. Is there discussion on the amendment? Alderman Stacey Moody.
I cannot support this resolution or the amendment to the resolution. Not tonight, not at this time. Our country is in the middle of a pandemic. And although our governor said today, Southeastern Connecticut may not hit the apex of this pandemic until possibly June. We are all adjusting to this new normal. 10 million Americans are out of work. Thousands of Americans have died from COVID-19 virus. Thousands more will likely die. And while Southeastern Connecticut is not considered a hot zone, thankfully, our daily lives have been turned upside down. Our friends and family members are out of work. Businesses are closed. Schools are closed. Restaurants and grocery stores have been significantly impacted. Projects are on hold or have been abandoned altogether. Meetings and religious services have been canceled. Family celebrations have been postponed. Our loved ones are dying, but few people can attend their funeral, if there is even one. Social distancing is our new normal. Our city has no idea how damaging the financial impact will be on us when this pandemic is over. We have no idea how damaging the financial impact to the state of Connecticut will be. It could be devastating. Some businesses will not be able to reopen. Some people will not have jobs to return to. I wish I was wrong, but I don't think I am. Before us is a resolution by the Democratic members of this council to spend money on yet another analysis of our fire service. Their timing couldn't be worse. In the middle of a worldwide pandemic, in the middle of our country's financial meltdown, they want our city manager to expend critical funds to do a survey. And how much will the survey cost? No one knows. $100,000? $150,000? And where are these funds coming from? These dollars could be critical to our situation. We should be spending money only for the immediate needs of our city so that it keeps functioning. The city manager should be watching every expenditure to ensure that it fits one criteria. Is it necessary and critical to the function of our city right now? And our elected leaders should be concerned with the same. Any and all action on this resolution should be postponed. Our focus in the middle of this global pandemic should be our first responders, our elderly, our children, our homeless, our businesses, our employees, period.
Thank you. The further comment on the amendment offered on Resolution 5. Alderman Joseph DeLucia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to say that there is not a dollar being requested here. This is a resolution. If it were to go forward, if it were to survive the scrutiny of the Public Safety Committee, if it were to come back to this council and be moved forward again. It would only give us the information that answers all of the questions that Alderman Gould has asked tonight. In spite of all that's going on around us, both tragic and troubling and expensive and to quote myself, our worlds are upside down. The business of the government and the city must go forward, and there is nothing wrong with collecting information to know what the answers to our questions truly are. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on the amendment before us? Alderman DeRose.
So, what I want to say first, and I've said it 10,000 times probably this last week and a half to 2 weeks, is we all, I think, wanted to slap in the face to say we're not concerned about the well-being of businesses, families, friends, co-workers, children, parents, what's going on in this country. I think every single one here is affected one way or the other. I think the part that we have to do is we were elected to do a job. Leadership is hard, leadership is tough. But a leader stands up and continues doing their job even when tough times come. This is our new norm. So to say this is the worst timing, no one anticipated us to be where we are today when we sat here last council meeting. So if you're saying the apex isn't going to hit until June, we're still talking several months of still figuring out where we are as a city. We still have, we owe it to the taxpayers, we owe it to the citizens of Norwich to continue to do exactly what we were elected to do, which was to run the city and the proper way of giving guidance and direction to our city manager. So to say that our only focus should be what is happening around COVID-19, that would be us bottling ourselves up to only what's going on with that. We've got other things to worry about. We need to worry about how we're going to maintain businesses in the city. We're going to need to worry about what we do if the numbers don't come back the way we're expecting them to. We've got other work to do. And that does not mean we stop doing some things and focus on only one thing. We're elected to do and multitask. We're on multiple committees. We've got multiple areas that each one of us sit up here and we attend to. That doesn't stop just because we've got this pandemic going on. People count on us to do our job. All we're doing is collecting information, and if it comes back, we'll do our job. There's nothing wrong with finding the answers and knowing the answers. And to say that just this study is the only one we do, and we're spending money. We spend money on other studies that have been pointless. And this study hasn't been done in over 30 years. Okay, things have changed. We talked about this earlier. Things change. Okay, we're not here to harm anyone. We're here to do our job, to get the answers, and to move forward and move this city in the best direction we can move it, working together. We just heard in our budget presentation talking about how we can work together and do different things. That's all this is asking us to do. We're not getting rid of anyone or any of that. We're giving the city manager a direction to go out and do a task that we are asking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further comment on the amendment that is offered? Have a roll call on the amendment, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
No.
President Pro Tem Betancourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
No.
Four yeses, 2 noes.
The amendment carries. Again, the votes were 4 in favor, 2 against. The resolution 5 as amended is still before us. Is there further discussion? Alderwoman Gould on the resolution as amended.
sorry.
It wasn't
It was not
amended.
amended. There was a motion to refer. The issue is closed. It's referred. It's referred.
You added, I asked for a motion to do so. You added language and time certain in the month of May that was not in the body of this resolution. It has to be an amendment.
No, sir, I did not. I said that I would like to make a motion to refer resolution number 5. I did not ask to recommend. I have asked, we asked and we just voted, debated and voted to refer this resolution to the Public Safety Committee for its consideration.
There is no date in the language of the resolution in reference to a time certain when it is to return to the council. That's new language, sir.
No, sir.
And for the public record, I think it would be beneficial to have that in the record of the resolution, not the language of a motion. It should so state in the resolution that it is to return on May 4th. I think that benefits the public who cannot be here, and it benefits the members of the council and the city manager.
I disagree, sir. The motion was to refer this resolution to the Public Safety Committee, as we have done literally dozens of times in the last 3+ years that I've been sitting up here. The point is moot. We would not now vote on whether or not to direct the city manager on whether or not to seek RFPs. It has been referred to public safety for a recommendation, for consideration, and a recommendation either favorable or unfavorable on whether it should move forward, as we do time and time again with matters of this magnitude where we have a subcommittee that it can be referred to.
We clearly have difference of opinion on what I heard, and as the chair, it is my ruling that we still have to refer to the committee. It's my ruling that your motion was to amend the resolution to include a date, time certain, that it be reported back to us.
President Pro Tem, Madam Clerk, I recommend.
Absolutely, sir. The floor is yours.
I would appeal the ruling of the chair and ask for a second.
That is your right. That is a motion. You're making a motion to appeal, correct?
Alderman
I'm
Lucia
making
seconds the
appeal
motion.
the ruling of the chair.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Alderman Lucia seconds the motion.
The motion before us is to appeal the ruling of the chair made by President Pro Tem Mark Betancourt, second by Alderman Joe DeLucia. The chair would invite discussion. The corporate council would like to join us.
I'm not sure you're entitled to debate on challenge to the ruling of the presiding individual.
Thank you. It's a simple roll call, I think.
Alderman DeLucia?
An affirmative signifies what?
A vote to appeal the ruling of the chair that passes would lay to rest final action on Resolution 5, and it would be referred.
Now, appealing the ruling of the chair that it was not that it was not a referral but an amendment. An affirmative vote for the appeal would reverse the decision and make it a referral.
Since you're the maker of the motion, I would accept your understanding of it since you made it. Yes, you were there.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
I vote yes.
Alderman Wilson?
I vote yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
No.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt,
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom.
No.
Vote is 4-2.
Motion to appeal the ruling of the chair passes 4-2. For the record, that ends discussion on resolution 5.
Okay.
New business ordinances. Number 1, an ordinance relative to the appropriations for the City of Norwich and the City and Town Consolidation Districts of said city for fiscal year 2020-2021.
A motion, please, to raise ordinance for the appropriations for the City of Norwich and the City and Town Consolidated Districts for the city for the fiscal year 2021. Is there a motion?
So moved by Alderman DeLucia.
First reading.
And for the first reading, and waive the reading of the text, yeah. Motion made by Alderman Joseph DeLucia. Is there a second?
Second by Alderman Wilson.
Second by Alderman Darrell Wilson. Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
6-0. Number 2, an ordinance concerning the tax levies on the list of October 1st, 2019.
A motion, please, to raise this ordinance to waive the reading of the text and to schedule for a public hearing. Alderman Darrell Wilson, is there a second?
Alderwoman Stacy Gould, seconds the motion.
Second by Alderwoman Stacy Gould.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion carries 6-0. Hold on. For the record, let it reflect that Alderman Nash is absent today due to work responsibilities.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Alderman Stacy Gould, second by Alderman Darrell Wilson. All those in favor, roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes,
6-0.
we are adjourned. And thank you all.